Yeah, this is live now. Thank you for tuning in, anyone. No one's here yet, of course, but I think for now I just wanted to say hello to everyone, and we are actually going on time today. Uh, it's 3 minutes past 8, and that is the exact time that I was planning on going live. So,
Perfect.
uh, what Voltaire said on that recent video I did with him, where I
Mm,
was 1 minute late,
mm.
that was just bullshit. And he's, I
Yeah.
don't, I don't want to, mince words about it, but he was an asshole for saying that.
Mm,
That I was a minute late, and uh, he was good on the broadcast. Everything went well.
mm.
It was just us two. I think I prefer doing like, concentrating more on just man on man recently and one on one type videos. But since then, I've not heard or seen hide nor hair of him. I mean, he really has just gone off the grid. And when that
Yeah, I
happens,
myself try. I messaged him a few times with no response either. So.
well, yeah, I mean, I don't do that. I just, on a daily basis, I will video call him about
Mm.
8 times, in the morning, then about 10 times in the evening, and
Okay.
sometimes in the afternoon as well. But I mean, I don't think see that as being, unusual behaviour by any means,
Oh
especially
no, no.
compared to some of the things that I've got recently from Mandela Man,
Yeah,
aka Bean Stone. I mean,
yeah.
he's got a chat going right now, and I will just to
Really.
describe what is happening now. There is a group. I put Sabrina Sutherland in it. Um,
Wow.
I added people. I added Mark LaRoque, who used to be on these videos like 6 years ago. Kevin Ball was in it. Chloe Schaffer was in it. Johnny Stirp, that's you, was in
Yeah.
it. Josh Backhouse was in it. Now and then I went on, and it's like 9:58,
Mm.
or sorry, 7:58 here. It says Kevin Ball left the group, Chloe Schaffer left the group, Johnny Stirp left the group,
Oh my
Josh
god.
Backhouse left the group.
Mm.
Then a post from Mandela Man. It's Kennedy Remembrance Day today. I responded with, "A lot of people have left the group. You need to try to make people stay by posting things they understand." To which Ben, aka McDonald, responded with a long line, then two dashes, three
Yeah,
points, sort
yeah.
of
I got
like
that
end of
too.
sentence, a pound sign and a smile or something. And then Sandy McDonald left the group, so it didn't work. Obviously, I mean,
Mm.
I, I feel like it's like that song by Kate Bush, "Running Up That Hill," and
Hmm.
it's the same with. I would actually, and I know this could sound wild to some people, but I would put, for instance, Davrin into the same group as these
Mm.
sort of people
Yeah.
in many ways, or in the same group as Dellerman, because he's posting things which are just like other people are not able to relate to them, So then they don't understand what he's talking about. It's the same thing with Davrin, who comes into the chat like on the other day on Sunday or whenever, and he just sort
Mm.
of, because I did have him blocked for some while, yeah, and then I just thought, okay, forget about that.
Yeah.
Like, don't have anyone blocked. But he's just bringing up matters that are relating specifically only to his own obsession with Cameron.
Still, wow.
And it's,
Yeah.
I've actually written to Cameron about it, and he says, like, he should have been just forgotten about years ago. Like,
Mm.
obviously, frustrated with me bringing him up again, really, I suppose.
Yeah.
Which is not, it's not my intention to bring him up for to aggravate Cameron or anything like that. It's more just, I just want to find some way, like an easy way of trying to get Davrin to sort of like just change back to his more good-natured self that he was at one point. Going back quite a few years now, but I just don't
Mm.
understand what has happened exactly. Because I don't see Cameron as deserving of the level of sort of
Animosity or.
just sort of like it's a roundabout mockery which comes from Davrin at the moment. And I
Mm.
know it's because he's writing to me getting a response out of me, but he's got to realise that I don't really have, I don't make videos with Cameron ordinarily these days, do I? So
No,
how does
no.
it respond to me? I mean, how does it relate to me even? Like,
Yeah, good question.
I made videos with him like going back 5 years. Yeah, I
Hmm.
was doing them then. You can write to me then about it, but crazy.
Yeah, I hear you.
So I don't know. Maybe it's possibly something to do with some people. They like to. Um, my whole computer just sort of like live in the past a bit. Maybe it's to do with that.
Yeah, or not letting go of it, kind of being stuck in that loop. I would agree with
Yeah,
that for sure. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it just bizarre because I don't see any reason to be having that level of fascination or obsession with Cameron in particular. Because it's not like he's pulling apart my videos and saying, "Oh, why did you say this bit, James?" or "Why did you say that bit?" and trying to sort of trip me up in some way or point out
Mm.
something that I did was wrong. Whereas with Cameron, he's bringing up, Cameron talking to whoever he was talking to, saying, "Oh, well, it was a shame that that gun didn't go off," and basically like shoot Donald Trump in the head, some comment along those lines, as in
Mm.
obviously a joke.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I've said far worse things. I mean, I said in the past, like, I think it'd be good if someone, had a double barrel shotgun and blew Donald Trump's head off and it went flying through the air, like at the end of What a Heart, when William Defoe's. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, okay, maybe some people would say this is like not a good thing to say
that's
because
pretty extreme. Yeah.
uh, but I don't think I'm actually like imploring anyone to do it, or I don't think anyone would
No, you're
watch my
just
videos
being
amongst like
common.
the now 20 people who might watch them. They're not going to say, that's disgraceful, James, because I don't stop anyone from saying, other things like, you know, wanting to assassinate politicians or, if they wanted to.
Well, just to clarify, nobody should be saying that at all. Just
No, but
come
I mean,
on.
I'm just saying, like, in,
I implore
in,
you
case,
for
in case
endorsing
somebody.
free speech. That's good, but
No,
some
but I think,
limits.
say, about, I mean, with Brad Pitt, his children, one of them said he's like a major asshole or something now.
Hmm.
And say if somebody came into the video and they started saying, "Oh, I think it'd be good if a stalker broke into Brad Pitt's house and then blew his head off with a shotgun, and then the head went flying out of the window and then landed in the swimming pool,
Hmm.
and then a dog dived into the swimming pool, got the head, and ran off into the LA hills with it," and
Oh
then
my God.
I mean it could happen, but
Yeah.
in a scene fit for Tarantino's next film. But I think I don't know if you've seen any of that news regarding Brad Pitt. I think
No.
no, I think obviously it is proof positive that he is an asshole because and a
Positive.
dick, because
Hmm.
he's I don't know how many of the children are literally his or whether they're adopted or whatever, but clearly he wasn't the best father whilst he was with Angelina Jolie, but
Yeah.
you know it's not like something where I would say, oh yeah, somebody should break into his mansion and have like razor wire that they put
No,
around his
no.
neck, and then
Oh my
his head
God.
flies off, flies into the waste disposal and sink, and then gets all mashed up into bits, and then someone eats the rest of
Oh
his
my
head.
God. You just kept that going.
So yeah.
That's very like Looney Tunes meets like Saw or something. Oh my God.
Bean Stone has just written to me, hashtag the art life. We going live, buddy, I'm ready. Or should I watch that third episode of A Man at the End of the World first? Uh, you know how I can't fathom spoilers. Well, he's kind of answered his own question then. If you don't want to come on in case I spoil anything, then, or you do, then don't come on. We're not going to be going live for another hour and then you come on, Ben. And secondly, if you're watching now, I will say like the main thing is your sound. It was really bad before, so yeah, just just wait until another one, and then we'll talk about it separately, perhaps. I think otherwise it just gets like chaotic. And in particular lately, I mean, I don't know. I would say like you need to be calm as much as possible after sort of all of the incidents of late, you know. And I'm not quite sure what you've been up to the last week, but it seems a bit like you've kind of been dipping your head into something a bit dodgy. I'm not sure exactly, but whether it's drugs, whether it's just going down to a nearby, you know, supermarket and end up leaving a glass of apple juice outside, I'm not sure, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a bit worrying. And when you've got a chat and that many people are leaving, when I've added them,
Sorry to laugh.
with some discretion as well on my part. I mean, I will say that Sabrina Sutherland is still in your chat, so use it wisely because basically I imagine she'll be writing down notes of everything that's in that chat and then going, "What do you reckon to this, Lynch?" And he's like, "We're going to put that in. We're making a film in Garden Shed, and it's going to be about Bean Stone." So,
You know what's interesting that he didn't see this episode because it's not necessarily a spoiler, but they do mention or talk about Walt Disney at one
yeah, I
point.
did tell him that. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, come on, really?" What?
I mean, he actually responded. He said, "I will forget about any confidentiality, really." But
Mm.
he says, third episode of a murder references someone and a place of significance for you. That's all I put.
Mm.
But then he put, so he doesn't know specifically. I'm not sure, but I'll just leave it for him to watch now. He might not have heard you, but regardless, he responded with, "I don't doubt it. I was trying to tell you this thing we started is pretty serious. I appreciate the heads up. I'm trying my hardest to remain humble and grounded, brother." I mean,
Mm.
at that point, I'm literally like, what the fuck is going on? I mean, you know, a murderer at the end of the world was probably
Finished production.
finished production by
Yeah.
like probably last year, and then maybe a bit still editing this year and things because it was delayed. Remember, it was supposed to come out
Yeah.
earlier in the year, and you know, none of it is based on Mandela Man's life or any of his experiences, because you know, if that was the case, like
Mm.
you could say, well, everybody who's ever been to Disney World or Land or even Paris Disneyland in the last year, like their
Yeah.
experiences have somehow fed into anything
Into the
which
machine.
is being shown on Disney
Yeah.
Plus. Which I mean, in this country, a meta of the world is being shown on Disney, but it's not specifically a Disney product, is it?
No, it's one of their subsidiaries, right? FX channel or
There's
something.
no, I mean, there's no references to Disney in it apart from what you've described, and
Yeah.
whether it becomes any more relevant, I don't know. But it's just, I think it's just the idea of experiences, probably, you know, in terms of certain creators and things out there,
Mm.
how they are commodified. You know, how we everything now is for sale and everything you can buy into certain things, whether it's VR, like when she starts in this episode, she wears that helmet that the young boy's got.
Yeah, which was so
I mean,
advanced.
but
Okay.
the thing is, the actual graphics were like, I don't know, about 2010 level, maybe not.
Mm.
They weren't
That's the
that
thing.
good,
That's
were
the
they?
thing with VR. They still haven't caught up because when you're putting it on, it's got to be at such a high frame rate that the graphics are dumbed down just to give you that immersion still. But
But
I
even
hear what
even
you're
so, I
saying.
thought that these were like it's because of the certain kind of graphics and stuff, but
Hmm.
it was almost like 90s level kind of style of graphics in terms of it, and this obsession also with you know medieval times.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think it was a bit, it was deliberately like looking a bit old-fashioned special effects, but it
Mm.
was obviously it was like that but upgraded to now in a way.
Yes, yes.
But
Yeah.
it wasn't supposed to look realistic, was it? I mean, like
No, no, not like
you know,
ultra realistic. Yeah, yeah. It
no.
was like exaggerated, ultra, almost like ultra retro graphics. It's like yeah, retro, but like with today's like fidelity, whatever you call.
Yeah, it was just. I think it was supposed to look deliberately, basically unreal. You know,
You know what was really another unreal moment? Sorry, Jay, I just thought because we were talking about there was that one part when they're all walking in the snow towards that destination, right? So it seems like he's building some type of, and again, spoilers for anybody listening, just skip ahead or watch the episode and come back. It looks like he's building some type of underground bunker, one of those doomsday bunkers. I don't know if you noticed that hole in the ground.
yeah, yeah.
It looks like that's going to be alluded to the next episode or maybe coming up. But there was a moment before that when all the robots they're all working in alignment, and then it was only for like 2 or 3 seconds where they all stopped, lit up, looked at the main character, and she kind of her eyes were wide open, and then they went back to work. I thought that was very Disney-esque. It's almost like he were they all saluting him as the creator, like the guy who created
It
it,
was similar
or
to I mean, the
there's a
OA has
moment
a
that
lot
stood
of
out.
relevance to this, where
Hmm.
the robots did those movements in the original, and this was similar
Oh,
to that in the
that's a
sense
great,
that the
yeah.
lights seemed to be a movement. I don't necessarily think they were saluting their creator or anything like that.
Hmm.
They were just doing some kind of display, which reminded me more than anything of. And I've spoken to Hannah, who's in Poland, about this kind of thing. She said some of the music, or I don't know, those bits seemed a bit close encounters. Especially when the guy
Mm,
was doing the signalling. But if you actually listen
yeah.
to the music, which plays a lot towards the ends of the episode, it does sound similar to that sort of, you know, do 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 business. In Close Encounters,
Oh
it's
wow, yeah.
definitely
Okay.
referencing that a bit.
Hmm.
Um, the show as a whole, like I think particularly this third episode felt a little bit like more of a just sort of slowing down to establish various other aspects, giving a bit of
Yeah.
exposition, and be setting up for what's to come. Obviously, there are only four more episodes after this, I believe. So
Really?
yeah,
Okay.
I can't remember. I can't really. Yeah, I think so, but I can't really imagine that
Hmm.
any of the other episodes are going to be as slow as this one because
I wouldn't think so, James, because so far it seemed like you're almost your typical. If you really pull it back and look at it simply, it's almost like you're like Clue, like a hunt, like the Who Killed Who, like who's the suspect,
it feels
a
like
little
that
bit.
within the retreat, but I think it has a lot of flashbacks
Yes,
in terms of
exactly. Yeah,
to the point where it gets. I actually think like the flashbacks could have been not as many really, but I
especially
do.
this episode a
I
little bit.
will
Yeah.
say the episodes. Sorry, the show as a whole so far, it's very much. You can't. I do think that it's difficult in the sense of trying to get my parents to watch it. For instance, it's not really going to appeal to. I mean, instantaneously at least, if they gave it a
Hmm.
big chance. But I think like people of a certain age, they might not gravitate towards it so much because it's focused around, Darby Hart, who's supposed to be. It seems she's supposed to be about 24, but she may be older.
Yeah, remember
And
she said
then,
she looks older than she looks, or something like that.
whilst she's with, playing a scene beside,
I
what's her
like
name?
that scene.
Joan Chen, who
Yeah.
looks considerably younger than she is as well, I imagine, because
Hmm.
she doesn't really. I mean, facially, she looks like very reminiscent of Josie in this as well, especially with a similar hairstyle and everything.
And
So
I love when she speaks. I just wish she had more to do. I mean, obviously we haven't watched the whole thing, but I hope she has more to do with the show. You know what I mean? Because so far she's been kind of a ancillary background character. She's just there for kind of small moments.
well, you could say that for a lot of the other characters because
True.
the thing is, this one has like basically, it deals with that guy with the beard and everything, and
Yeah, yeah.
when they're outside walking up that hill, it does
Hmm.
also come across as being a bit unreal, where
He had a
she's
pacemaker
she
too.
suddenly
Yeah.
just becomes like, yeah, yeah. He becomes sorry. She catches up with him by walking really fast, and then it basically has back projection, so that you can see they're clearly not in Iceland when they were filming that bit. Where they're
Mm.
one next to each other, they just have.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the part where she follows him at night, that really goes into a part where it's like very obvious that this is a set. It's so,
Hmm.
and I think they're almost not trying to particularly hide it because the show is partly about that. Artifice. What is artifice? What is real? And
Mm. Yeah.
I mean, it's got to the point where Kevin, who from probably Coffee Time in the past and still writes
Yes,
to
yes.
me, like he was saying, is for instance, the identity of the killer, her dad. Like, wouldn't that be a bit of a, amazing aspect? And I was thinking,
Mm.
well, I
Mm.
don't know. I mean, it would be amazing, but it would also be a bit much because her dad is not really in it much. So,
No.
it would just be a bit kind of just out of nowhere.
Mm.
But I mean, it's got to be more related to things like AI, virtual reality, even robots, really, because like when that first or second episode, they say don't give him that to the young boy,
Yeah.
who's
Yeah.
Zoomer he's called or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. At the
Like
dinner table. Yeah.
it's like why are they so bothered about what he can't eat? Because he's only a child. I mean,
Mm.
children try anything, and it's only a bit of bread, like a naan bread or something. And
Was that the episode directed by? Sorry, I forget her name. The actress from the OA and who also writes it.
I don't know. She directed the first episode. The second two have been by Zach
Oh,
Batman Glee,
okay.
and
Because I
you
liked
know,
her
I think her
directing.
episode was better.
Yeah, I
As you
agree.
probably agree, I think
Yeah,
the first one was like head and shoulders the best so far
it
in
just
terms
pulled me
of
right in as soon as I
because
watched it. I knew.
it has so much variety and
Hmm.
like how many because of this, my mum and dad were like, "Oh, okay, can you get me a compilation of Annie Lennox?" Because I
Hmm.
told them about how No More I Love Yous comes into the show, and they're open minded, but they haven't watched the show yet. But it's just like just by talking about the show, they suddenly want to listen to Annie Lennox. So I
Hmm.
went out and bought like a compilation album of her
Ooh,
stuff. But
nice. Very
you
cool.
know, I mean what I found out is that No More I Love Yous by her, that's not actually an original. That was on her covers
Wow.
album she
Yeah.
did called Medusa, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
by an '80s band called The Lovers Speak or something like that, and it's
Hmm.
arguably that '80s one is better. But basically, the Eurythmics toured with
Yeah.
that band, but who Annie Lennox was the Eurythmics, and it wasn't a successful song. The Lover Speaks one, No More I Love Yous. So she thought basically, oh, I know, I'll sing it, and
That's
not like
incredible.
I'll make it a success, but I
Yeah.
mean, it's more likely to be a success being released by a well-known artist than it
Yeah.
was, and that's like 1995. There's two other songs in that first episode as well. The Glory Box by Portishead and
The Doors.
another one. Yeah, The Doors at the start. But in terms of songs that came out in 1995,
Hmm.
there's also a Tricky song by that a British artist, Tricky. All British artists who samples the same music as used in the Portishead one. So like
Oh.
these sort of songs that were all popular in '95, apart from The Doors at the start. And although that probably actually was popular in 1995, The Doors, the
Hmm.
end, because there was The Doors resurgence, throughout the early '90s, especially because of the film with Carl McLaughlin, obviously. And
Yes. Yeah.
I think that year in particular, it makes me wonder, like, what exactly does all this relate to? And what is interesting is that in 1995, that's when the first Windows 95 came onto the scene. So
Hmm.
there's that. Because I do think that this, like Darby says, don't, if you're going to take my phone, that's half of my brain. And what is she
Yeah.
using on the internet? But I mean, what is she using on the phone? The internet. You know,
Yes. Yeah.
she's not playing like Scooby Doo goes, crazy or
Yeah.
something, or whatever game like I was playing in the
Hmm.
Morecambe Arcade, where for some reason 2,200 people just clicked on it that night. And then no, all my other videos, like nobody's even interested hardly much. Well, some are, but
Oh.
And yeah, it's just weird. It's a really weird show in terms of It's like she comes out of her flat. On the front door of the flat, it says 401. You
Hmm.
know, like 401 error reading message or whatever. When you're doing.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a bit like
That's a
everything
good
to do
eye. I
with
missed that.
Darby is to
Wow.
do with her trying to figure out her past, but she can't obviously for certain reasons. Like we're just supposed to accept that she would go along with her dad, and she's like literally I don't know, supposed to be 18 or younger, 16, and then she's like, oh, just looking, there's like this girl floating in a pond like dead.
Yeah, I know that was. What's your daughter doing here? That's
Because
okay. She's fine with it.
I mean, the way she acts and everything, it's as if she's in some kind of constant state. Like
of
There's been
shock
reviews
factor.
of the show on Rotten Tomatoes,
Mhm.
largely, especially from my audience, very, very positive. But then you just get one star ones sort of going, acting terrible throughout. Can't believe how bad the acting is for the main character and all this kind of. And I'm like,
I don't see that. No.
are you right? I mean, no, I'm thinking like, are they right? Like, no, I think they've gone a bit overboard. Like, I don't think
Yeah, I
it's
think
like
the
that.
individuals are probably just not liking maybe her as an actress for whatever reason, but her acting is not bad at all.
No, I think it's fine. It's just like she's playing a character who's
Like that's her character, you know what I
been
mean?
through a lot for like
Yeah,
a young person. Like for her age, she's already
and
like gone to crime scenes with her dad.
yeah,
Uh, she seems to be someone who doesn't really mix with a lot of people.
no, they alluded to the one thing I
All this
like
kind of thing.
is they made another '90s reference to The Simpsons with
Oh
Lisa
yeah,
Simpson, and I like that because I too had spent summers watching it, and I like the moment she said she related to Lisa. I kind of viewed her now on as
she had some kind of
the smart
accident, didn't
one.
she? But then I can't remember what it was.
Hmm.
But what's funny is obviously why even have a reference to The Simpsons? Like, how is this relevant specifically? Other than it's almost like another Easter egg where
Mm.
obviously Lisa is an important character who's smart in the family and all that kind of thing, but
Yeah.
who's her dad? You know, Homer, and one of the main characters in the OA is Homer. So
Wow.
it's
I like
just
these connections. That's good. I didn't even
it's
think about that.
like yeah. Well, when you go into the hotel room as well,
Hmm.
she's in that room. She can't get in unless she's got the ring, which in
Yes.
itself seems like the worst security idea I've ever known. Like
Yes. You
because
lose
you
your ring.
see, you see what's his name. I can't remember off the names of the people in it, but the guy who's then he's also renamed as an artist, like
Yes. Yes.
Wolf's Mane or whatever anyway it's called.
Hmm.
And it's like he doesn't even put it in his on his hand. He picks it out from inside his shirt somewhere and then puts it. So basically, if someone just drops it on the floor, that means that somebody else can just go in and
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
opening all the doors.
Yeah.
And secondly, she can do a fake flood in in the downstairs bathroom somewhere.
Hmm.
Say there's shit everywhere, which is a bother, and then
Yeah. I forgot about
put her
that.
shoe up on the actual, which just to sort of like convince him, obviously. And at that point, he's like, okay, then, well, I'll go and have a look. And she's like, well, I'll just go and put my ring on this, and now I've got access to everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
is this?
Hmm.
Like hacking for 5-year-olds? It's just,
There is almost a fantasy element of hack. Yeah, almost that fantasy. Like,
yeah,
you know what
it's
it is?
not
Maybe
that easy. Come on.
do you think it is? Okay, what year did the movie Hackers come out? Are they making reference? That's another
Well,
'90s
that
movie,
actually
right?
came out in 1995, so
Really? Are you serious? Oh my god!
I am serious. Yeah. What do you? I mean, even better. Let's
Wow,
just forget about. I mean, we might as well forget about talking about the entirety of all films that have ever come out in 1995. But
you got me on a roll. There's a night.
1994, The Net. I mean, basically, this is a remake of The Net,
Mm,
but it's much more culty and kind of cool. So,
mm.
I mean, there may be something that I just said that isn't true, but still, make up your own mind.
Well, Joshua in the chat loves the net. That's good. We often bring it
Do you
up
mean
on
do you
this show.
mean the film, or do you just love The Net as a whole?
That's a good question too. Yeah.
I actually think it's a good film. I mean, I watched it a long time ago when it was just on TV or something. I haven't even watched the DVD I've got, but it's very well made for the time, and it's also for us it's just funny because it shows things as if they're like amazing, like her ordering pizza on the computer, and she's like
Yeah, that was a
with the
big
bit
thing.
with the big screen, the block, screen
Mm.
and everything, and like doot, 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 order the pizza. Oh, and then it's there like half an hour later. Like, oh my god,
is,
this
is
woman's a real hacker.
is that the movie she did with Mel Gibson, or is that the another one I'm thinking of?
No,
Where
that is
about
it's
conspiracies and stuff.
that's conspiracy theory. That was
Conspiracy theory.
Julia
Okay.
Roberts, and
Julie
that's actually a
Roberts.
good
Sorry.
film as
Okay.
well.
Hmm.
But that's probably a bigger budget film than the Net. Like
Always get those mixed up. Those two. I don't know why.
conspiracy theory is more like a dramatization of Mandela Man's daily
Yeah,
life.
I was gonna say it's like the light version of it.
But it,
Yeah.
but the thing is, these kind of films, I don't really think it's like like the people leaving the chat, for instance. When I mean, okay, I've added them in stupidly, but I shouldn't have added them in the first place. I know, but
But you are right. The first thing I saw was all the craziness. I'm like, okay, come on, I
I just
can't.
thought, like, okay, someone's going to at least say, Mandela Man, what's going off exactly? Because this is just getting out of hand now. It's like he's just doing kind of these missives from just outer space, and people are like, what? You know, what's
It's,
going off?
how can you answer something?
It's not inclusive at all. It's just like an insight to someone having a prolonged mental breakdown. But
Yeah,
it's not funny. I mean,
I know I shouldn't be laughing.
but at the same time, it's kind of funny because it's like after having all the experience of what happened with, his brother and everything. I
Oh
mean,
my god, yeah.
it's difficult to really take this as seriously because I don't see Mandela Man. I mean, it doesn't strike me as he's going to go out and start like doing anything. Personally, I hope not.
I hope not.
Robbing a bowling alley or something. But
Oh god.
it's. I would say if he's watching this, please don't do that. But
I had heard recently that there was another one of those AI girlfriend websites. They went down. I had messaged him because I thought it was his, but it wasn't his. But apparently, the person said who owned this AI chat for like female, the artificial girlfriend. He apparently arson did. He burnt down his apartment. Cops arrested him, and then the whole network went down. And everybody was wondering how one person, as soon as he got arrested, how it just went down. And the assumption was he was the one that was answering all the things. Like he was the AI girlfriend, which would be so creepy. You got some like 400-pound guy who's talking to you, and you think it's a girl or something.
no, I mean, I think the kind of one that Mandela's talking about is not. There's no one else on the other end. Like
No,
a
that was
person.
different. Yeah, I
It's just,
confirmed it. It's a different company entirely.
and it's not really entirely convincing because it's always giving positive responses. Like
Yeah.
in real life, if you're talking to somebody, you're not just going to get constantly somebody saying, "Oh, that's really interesting." Actually, like then
Yeah.
you're talking to a sociopath basically,
Yeah, exactly.
and it just
I,
becomes like really tedious quickly. Unless you're
I
the
think
kind
we're
of
like
person
what
that they prey on, And
do you think we're like 10, 20 years from like it becoming sentient to actually having feelings? Because right now it's all
well, they'll
just
have like obviously fake feelings.
mm,
It's not literally
that's
sentient
true.
because we're sentient.
Yeah.
Animals are sentient.
Hmm.
They
Respond.
like say these people have these kind of now these bully XL dogs and stuff, and they've been in the process of banning them in this country. But then it's like, well, we're not exactly sure if we're going to definitely ban them all because there's so many different variations of them, and obviously, primarily the only people who bred these kind of ones in particular are criminals because they're
Oh,
using
yeah.
them for like drug dealers who are using them as sort of safety, or
Hmm.
also people who do dog fighting, unfortunately. But yeah, of course they eventually get into the hands of people who are just average people, and the dogs react to the people who they're around. Like they've already
Yeah.
got too much aggression in them anyway, because they're a mix of like bulldogs and whatever's Rottweilers or whatever. It's like just a bad mix. So it's like interbreeding between dogs which shouldn't be bred, and then the kind of people who buy them and get them are like, you should never fucking
Mm. Yeah.
just like, for God's sake. Like, I said something like, for God's sake, in front of my nephew. My mum says, no, don't say that. Come on, let's not. They're not basically
Mm.
not trying to get my nephew to have bad habits, but
Yeah.
these dogs, they just pick up everything from the people they're around, don't they? And so
Yeah.
if they were only ever in the position of being with people who are like totally Buddha like Zen people, then mostly they'd probably be all right, apart from one moment where they just snap and go completely mental, which could happen. But
Which could happen with
I mean, let's face it, dogs are unpredictable. So
yes. Yeah.
even Chihuahuas.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, Dale Cooper reminded Gordon Cole of a small Mexican Chihuahua. And look what happened.
Yeah.
25 years later, he's in Las Vegas, wandering around, smashing his head into doors and stuff.
I know.
Yeah, like the more I've thought about that, for instance, and Cameron was talking about it on his video yesterday, his thought of the day and everything.
Oh, I missed that one. Okay.
It's. I think a lot of the Dougie stuff is all about um, a response or reaction to, and a natural one, in fact, to being in a position where you're sort of you had so much trauma in your life to some extent, and I don't
Mm,
know with Cooper why that would be necessarily on a logical in terms of he was an FBI agent and like professional and everything. He should have been able to deal with everything, but I don't really think he did. The truth of the matter.
mm.
Uh, and if this was shown in a more conventional type of film or something, it would show Agent Cooper having a kind of like breakdown type of situation. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's sort of what we're dealing with, I think. And because it just fits in with all the other characters, like Sarah Palmer is in this totally traumatic situation. Um, Even James Hurley, he fell off his bike. He's just sort
Yeah.
of like completely lost, really. Bobby's in the same kind of position. Not to all the same level, obviously, but
No, but
Big
yeah.
Ed is kind of just been stuck with Nadine for so long and so on. It's just Beverly and that guy who's got cancer, and she's just like yelling at him,
Mm.
and so on. And yeah, and even Johnny, for instance, he's got a robot teddy bear saying, "Johnny, how are you today?" And
Yeah.
I don't know if that's really. I think I'm not really sure if that's Lynch or anybody saying. I'm not sure if robot teddy bears are the future or AI teddy bears, but it's interesting in the sense of um, I don't know. It just seems to link in with other things in Twin Peaks: The Return, like for instance, the glass box with things appearing in it, and
Yeah.
like we have the glass ball of the with the teddy bear's body,
Mm.
and then of course we have like the glass ball of the golden orb type of thing um,
Laura
with
or
Laura, and then
yeah.
also with James Hurley's head in, floating through space, saying, I just need to get on my bike and just go. And
Sorry, it's that funny.
hear the sound of the engine was like a thousand angels singing, Donna.
Mm.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, James. Okay, fine. I'm going to San Francisco. All
Mm.
right. How have you got enough money to just go to San Francisco? You're a high school student. What the hell's going on?
That's a good question. Yeah.
It's like on the way, he's got to stop by lots of gay bars
Oh my God. Yeah, just to make some money.
just to get the odd $20 here or there from jerking off,
Oh my God.
men in like red caps, make America come again and stuff.
You can bring a couple again.
And truck again, make America truck again, or truck you. That T-shirt was the best one.
Mm.
I bet you right now there's a Twin Peaks hipster wearing a truck you T-shirt, but.
I got to get one just cause
But in terms of to get back to the A Murder at the End of the World, which was
Yeah.
originally called Retreat, like
Mm.
I do think there is something you could compare there to Twin Peaks: The Return in the sense of Britt Marling in an interview she said, "Oh well, Twin Peaks came back, so maybe we can come back as the OA.
Oh well.
Obviously, if this thing is a success, but I mean, I know
Mm.
when it came out initially, this a week ago or so ago, it was
Hmm.
like first number one in the world for TV shows, but I don't think it's like particularly going to appeal to the biggest audience out there, but it'll certainly be popular enough because I think it appeals to quite a lot of a younger audience, uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then others obviously. And I think like the way it's filmed and the way it's all intercut and the storyline being so sort of all over the place, really, it seems, is similar to Twin Peaks: The Return in the sense that you've got two people in a car and they just start singing "No More I Love Yous." That's literally within 10 minutes of the show starting.
Yeah.
I mean, that was quite sort of almost Lynchian, I thought, in its. except a bit far more sort of. It didn't have the underlying kind of sinister tones quite so much.
No, yeah, that's the one
But
thing that I wish the show had a little more of an original soundtrack. Like, obviously, not everyone has like an Andrew Lobel
I know
either, but
it's like that Hannah in Poland. She pointed out that the song that's like voices, like a choir of voices,
Mhm.
it's that was also used in Dark apparently. So
Wow.
and I don't know. I mean the German TV show, but did you ever
Yeah.
watch Dark? Or
No, I
it's
was
worth
told by
watching for
people.
sure. You
Should I
should
watch
have
it
a
from? Yeah, okay, if you think it's good, okay.
definitely if it's on. Yeah, I mean at least the first season. Then see what you think after that. Really, I think
Okay.
the first season I particularly enjoyed. Um, but then it's sort of like it does involve time travel and things like that, but it's believable if that can be believable.
Yeah, because time
And
travel always gets messy.
yeah, it's not like they're going around in a DeLorean, but
Mhm. Even just the causality effect, that always gets messy.
well, it
Every
gets
little thing.
particularly like that by the third season, where I honestly basically had no idea what the heck was going on.
Shit. Yeah.
I was just. But I think in this, it already has that anyway, where you almost feel like, is this in the order we should be watching it? Like with the song "The End" being the first song used in the
Yeah.
first scene. I mean, that's a bit much. Like, why are we seeing? It doesn't really like make sense. Like, why, if she is 24, or even if she was 30 but she looks younger, it doesn't seem believable. Like, it doesn't make sense in terms of the story that she's written this book called
Hmm.
um, the Silver Doe. You know,
Yeah.
why would the show start with her having already written that? So she's already. But then we learn later that there were 5,000 copies, 2,000 got sold. So that
Yeah.
means she's basically sitting on 3,000 copies. Like
Yeah.
that's not by any stretch of the imagination like a successful book, is it? It's
No, not really.
I mean it's obviously got into the right person's hands, but it seems just odd. Like when there's so many people you could add to be invited there,
Hmm.
it's almost like wouldn't the story seemingly go? She goes on this retreat, then she's written a book by the end of it, for instance. It's just
That
it's
would make,
really
yeah,
it's
yeah.
quite baffling and
Mm.
yeah, it's a strange story. Like I think it could do with a bit more sinister sort of tones within it, especially in terms of like you say the music and the story, and because it does feel a little bit like it's just meandering. Like I
Sometimes,
don't I
yeah.
don't feel like there's much kind of an intensity to it. That's the only issue
Like,
I have. It's like
yeah, because you want something, a driving force. You want something to be like, shoot, we got to
and
get to A
yeah,
to B, for some
I think
reason.
Darby herself, the way she's played and everything, she is like that. She's just sort of meandering through this experience. Like Bill, who is supposedly been killed, but I don't believe that.
Mm.
Right? He he had more a bit of a kind of some kind of weight to his scenes. I felt like he seemed a bit kind of well, I think he was supposed to feel like that, but he seemed sometimes a bit quiet and sort of reserved, wasn't he? But
Yeah,
in
but
a
then
in
you
a
find out,
but he's
from
not
later.
really.
No, because then you find out later from everybody else that he does this or he's done that or he's told them this or that.
He actually relates to other people more,
Yeah.
whereas with Darby, she's only met him because he's been on because they met online, and so she's obviously immediately, like jealous when she sees that he's met that Brit Marling character and things like that. But
Yeah, yeah.
and
Which that put up
there's
red flags when they showed that picture with them together. Because I'm thinking, okay, that makes the husband a suspect instantly.
and there's just so many things in there, like the tattoos that the Brit Marling character and he have. They're both basically it's like a line going along his arm, and then
Yeah.
she has a similar one going up her neck, and it's sort of they start and end in the same place. So
Can I ask you a personal question? Because I know how you feel when you see women that are slightly little, as you would call them, slightly too skinny. How did you feel when she was in her bathing suit when you saw her? Like, my first thought was,
I don't know. This actress is like I've only heard that she was in The Crown. She's originally playing Princess Diana, and I looked, I've seen photos,
Hmm.
and she looked like she was probably a more average weight then. And now, and I know she started off also doing modelling,
Mm.
which is, you know, believable enough because like a lot of models are just often nothing. There's nothing particularly remarkable about the way they look. They just maybe have a certain thing about them.
There was that one
And
scene
she's
which
just got
was
too skinny now. I think. I mean,
just too. It was like somebody give it her a sandwich or something. Oh my
it's like
god.
when she's in the room and there are shots where it's like you can see her topless, but it's from a long distance. And I was saying to someone online, like, I don't understand why that scene was in there, other than the fact that it was trying to show us that she's got this tattoo on her chest, which you
Yeah.
can't hardly see, and it's lower down, but we've never been shown it. It's
Mm.
never clear, and it's obviously relevant to the story, but the whole nature of it all and how it will all come together is, I imagine, going to be quite esoteric. With Phantom Cooper, we're talking about a murder at the end of the world. We've watched episode 3, but we're really talking about the entire thing, I suppose.
Yeah. So
And
far.
that is the episode title of this YouTube video as well, so you should already have known that anyway, Phantom Cooper. I mean, come on, please. Read the title of the video, Phantom Cooper. I appreciate you coming in and everything, but it's on Disney Plus. In other countries, it's on Hulu. Just find it and check it out because it's definitely. I mean, as far as a lot of TV is concerned, it's a lot better than most TV, in my opinion. This
Yeah.
is
Yeah. For sure.
because
That's for sure.
I immediately get like, so I'll just watch the start of the first episode of something, and I'm just like immediately,
Yeah.
this is just nothing special. It's just conventional TV,
Yes. Yeah.
But this isn't. It's like within the first 10 minutes, they're going down a road with like aerial shots of it and all that, and they're just singing an Annie Lennox song in the car
Hmm.
for about 5 minutes. Like this is not a normal start to a show, is it?
No. No.
Um, yeah, it's just and it combines like realistic settings where it's wherever she lived. I can't remember where it's supposed to be, and then it goes immediately to Iceland, and you're thinking how much of this exactly is supposed to be completely real because the Joan Chen character makes sort of like something of the fact that she's taking a sleeping tablet, but
Mm.
we see her put something to her mouth. We don't necessarily see her take it, but then she
Yeah.
hands a tablet to Darby, and she wakes up a certain point later where it could have been that they didn't actually go to Iceland; they went somewhere else, which is like a recreation of Iceland.
Mm.
And I mean, I don't know. I mean, the whole thing could be a set because when you think of the ending of the OA, especially, I know that this is not the OA season 3, obviously, but it's definitely related to it. I mean, if you look at the way
Mm.
Clive Owen looks in this, he looks basically the same as Hap, who was in the OA. So
And he's done a really good job so far, I should
yeah,
say.
definitely.
And he hasn't exposed whether he's playing that fine. It's excellent
Well, he
acting.
actually comes across as quite a pleasant person. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
more
You think there
actually,
might be something, but I don't pick up anything. It's
no, you
weird.
don't see any discrepancy. Whereas
No.
with Britt Marling's character, for instance, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have any issues with how she comes across, but in the first scene where we see her, where she walks past the room and she's picking something up off the floor,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
this is something I've picked up on reading on Reddit, she looked completely out of it, as if it wasn't even the same woman. And then she comes to the room 5 minutes later, and she's dressed and smiling and stuff. And it's like
Mm.
this has fed into a lot of people going, are they like I don't know, like are people
Replicate.
either programmed in some way
Mm.
to function, or are there actually two versions of
Yeah.
people? Like for instance,
If they
the
have
bill,
doppelgangers, that'll be amazing.
yeah, like the bill we saw lying on the floor is not the real bill.
Oh, okay. This is
This
okay.
kind of thing.
See,
Look,
now you're adding some more interest way over my. This is pretty cool to think
yeah, but I
about.
mean, they haven't got very much episodes to sort of,
I know 4. I
unless
can't
they
believe
just suddenly announce that there's going to be a follow up, which I wouldn't really be surprised because 7 episodes just doesn't seem really enough for the whole thing for me. And
and this one kind of ended on a cliffhanger. It seems like they're gonna go to this underground bunker because he's like everybody underground.
yeah, and I think with Darby and everything, she's easily, a good enough sort of detective to investigate like in a second season of something, something
She is definitely
related.
she's
But
definitely a Lisa Simpson. Like she's got her character down to a T. So, but just in real life.
well, yeah, she's almost comical in a sense of how seriously she takes everything to a
Yeah.
degree. But it's kind of a bit at times you just think, what's going off? Like she's just gone wandering outside
Yeah.
up a cliff basically, and then it looks like, oh, okay, this is a set. Oh, this doesn't look like a set. This looks real, maybe, but
Mhm.
maybe they're not really there. It's a special effect in some way. But oh, now that guy's dead. Like, okay, so we're gonna. I mean, what? We've only just got to know
Okay,
him, and
okay,
it's
let's talk
like,
about that scene. Okay, just she opens the door. She sees his flask.
yeah,
It's draining, as if he was drinking and he had to put it down or it was knocked over.
yeah, but it looks like so
But he's
set
not in
up,
that
doesn't it?
room. So okay, like that's his room, right? So like his
Yeah, so
flask is
why would he
knocked
not be
over,
there? It doesn't make
and
any
then
sense.
you see his body, no socks, no shoes, like he had been dragged and just thrown and tossed in the middle there. I think
Did
everybody
he
might
not?
be
He
in on
didn't
that.
have shoes on or socks.
No, and it was weird because if you go by what they showed us, she opens the room. It looks like the flask looks like there was like a struggle, but he's not in there. He's in now the restaurant area. Did he either walked over in a struggle like a heart attack and collapsed? Because they did show also a drink on the bar,
It, well,
a
it's definitely
glass that
relevant
was
what you're saying, and a
half
good
open.
observation because the big thing for her was noticing the kind of shoes he was wearing, the boots.
Yeah.
And if he's now shoeless and all this kind of thing,
Hmm.
this is often can be related to a sort of Illuminati type of thing, and Masonic, where
Hmm.
they have something of a tradition where shoes, are either taken off or discarded,
Wow.
and it sort of is about some kind of just symbolic thing for them, really.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they have related it to a lot of so-called psyops where you see a lot of like shoes discarded in situations, which I've got to admit it does sometimes seem like
Hmm.
this is a setup, but at the same time I do think that in various crimes that people might be loaded into ambulances and things like this and the shoes come off, so it's
Yeah, yeah.
it's a pretty dangerous area to be drawing all these parallels, but I
Hmm.
do I do think that there's like quite an obvious link in this whole thing to a sort of Illuminati type of underground thing that you're talking about, with literally underground, but
Hmm.
also symbolically, where these masks are being worn to try and hide
Yes.
their. And I don't understand also in those scenes where they both see the mask on the thing, they do this like exaggerated, like, and it's like,
Yeah.
I was watching it, I was like, it's not that scary. I mean, have you not seen like Eyes Wide Shut or like why are
Yeah.
they doing it like this? It's like the
Mm.
whole thing is strangely like we're at a remove in some ways because I really don't think that for most things nowadays, TV or film, somebody appearing at a door with a electronic CCTV is going to be scared of a mask appearing there, and
Mm.
particularly. But the whole thing has just this kind of simmering eeriness to it, though.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's more like it's more like just an overall overtone of the whole thing. It's not like it tries to give you these big jump scares or anything particularly, does it? And
No, no, they haven't gone for any cheap jump scares, so which is good. I like that.
yeah, I do think like them all wearing masks and things. It points to this aspect of what exactly they're trying to hide, and also the possibility of either like hidden identity or even sort of like people hiding their real identity or a double identity, this kind of thing, because
Yeah.
otherwise I just don't. If it all ends up with basically, and Bill was really either took an overdose or was given the overdose or whatever,
Hmm.
and that's the end of everything, like the story for him, then I just think that's way too.
That's way too easy. Yeah.
Um,
Well, we
it
heard
just
the
doesn't. It
struggle.
just doesn't seem satisfying in any way.
We heard this. Like, if you, we heard the exact same type of struggle with him as the guy that died in this episode.
Mm.
There's some type of ruckus, and
A
then
sexual struggle.
there's something.
At
There's
first,
this.
she thinks it was sex, as it does sound like she's
Yeah.
like, oh, he's up to his old tricks again. He's having a gangbang, basically.
But at the same time, I'm
And then,
thinking, but you can clearly hear the guy. He's like, help or
but
something.
then she turns to the camera and like raises an eyebrow. Like,
I'm thinking, woman, run. He needs
there's
help.
noise coming on in there, like, oh, oh. So yeah, and
But yeah, the guy
make
today, I was
America
saying,
great again. Oh. Oh. So yeah, that kind of thing's going off. I think.
yeah,
I don't know. It's just a very strange show in some ways, but I think that the overall like way the show appears is it's fairly accessible to people. I mean, otherwise it wouldn't be on Disney, would it? Really?
and how do you feel about the weekly release? Because it allows us to actually talk about it now and actually think
I
about
don't
it.
know. I would say I'll describe my feeling as fury, really.
Because this would be old school how you would have watched Fury, how you would have watched Twin Peaks, right? You would have to wait for the episode to come next
Yeah,
week.
I think it would have been a
You know,
shame to have just it all
binge it, right?
be like laid out for you there on because I would have
Yeah.
already watched the rest of it. Like,
And we would have had
there's,
this
a,
conversation right now. That would have been it.
there's only 4 more hours. I mean, each episode is
Yeah.
about an hour. The first one was about an hour and 10 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if the last one is 90 minutes or something. But at the same time,
Yeah.
if you look at the actual description of the episodes, it goes up to 6, and then it gives a vague description of each episode. But then
Yeah.
for episode 7, it just says the same as for the first episode, like Darby is invited to a retreat in Iceland, etc.
Oh.
And so
Hope
it's
there's only,
basically hiding the.
let's hope there's not only 3 episodes left. Oh my god.
Well, no, they're just hiding what the.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's supposed to be some kind of big thing
Ooh,
within
such a title.
part
Okay.
7, but
Yeah.
I mean, that is obviously going to be something worth watching, but I just hope it's not, like
Yeah.
just, well, I mean, I don't know, to vocalize the reaction to it, I don't want it to be sort of like, that kind of feeling. Or like when you look at one of Mandela Man's, well, he's actually writing to me one now.
Hmm.
Walt Disney Company fires CEO without warning. Oh,
Oh.
right.
Okay.
Fucking hell. I mean, like, why the obsession with Disney for one thing?
Hmm.
I mean, I know that he was conceived in a room in a Disney motel with Walt Disney actually looking through the door.
Yeah.
I'll give him a link anyway now because he's just ringing me.
Okay.
So he's obviously watching, I think. I'm not making fun of Mandela Man if that's what anybody thinks. So she says my ears are ringing because of me speaking about him. It means, I suppose.
My ears are ringing.
You mean my ears are on fire?
Hmm.
Bit of a camp reaction. Ooh, you bitches! You're talking about me, aren't you? No, not the whole world. The whole world doesn't revolve around you, Mandela.
But the one thing I keep thinking about the show is that little kind of like they kind of pan by it, but when the robots, the amount of robots he had, no one had mentioned that before, and they're all under some seeming control. So like
Yeah, I mean that was
it's gonna play a
that was
part.
like the show just suddenly went into like Westworld or something like randomly.
Literally,
But
my eyes were like, huh?
it was better than it was better than anything I've seen in Westworld, frankly.
Yeah, yeah, especially
It's-
the new Westworld.
This
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just like taking it to the next level of like
Yeah, it was not a,
I
a
don't know. It's
giant
like
kid.
it was like Lemmings robots,
Mhm.
but except they weren't behaving like lemons. They're actually
No,
building
no.
bridges.
Yeah. So
I mean, it
many
was
of them.
interesting.
Yeah.
I think it would be good if the next episode started with Clive Owen's character, having a shower, and then there's one of those robots in the shower with him.
Oh my god, I was gonna say he opens the screen and then it's there to kill
No,
him.
just like putting a sponge on him and giving him a brief,
I'm surprised they don't
massage.
have those cleaning drones around.
They should be also, scrubbing his feet and giving him pleasure.
Hmm.
Not, I don't mean like sexual.
Question:
singing or
I'm
something
just
like.
sorry. I'm just thinking about this show. Did they show any when they said that they had called the authorities and the cops? Did they actually? Oh yeah, they did. They showed an ambulance taking the body out or something, right?
Yeah,
She looked
yeah.
out, but I don't remember seeing any police per se. Just a small little thing. I was just thinking. You mentioned the authorities, but I don't remember seeing authorities.
I'll just give you something. I don't know if you've heard of the not game, the page Lynchland. Like they've had a
Yes.
problem with Facebook where I think basically someone reported them in a kind of mean fashion, and because they've got like Lynch in the name and everything, like saying it's stealing his name and everything.
Hmm.
But there must be ways they can get out of this whole thing. But one of the most recent comment in the chat to save the page Lynchland, it says, "What does back end and front end mean technically?"
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
I mean, how you can get a page banned on Facebook for using somebody's name like David Lynch, I mean, that just seems.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the case, then Facebook really isn't fit for service, is it? It's the same thing
No.
with YouTube now. You hear that a lot of people who've got channels and stuff are
Yeah.
frustrated with all of the different rules and things like this. Like
Yes. Yeah.
I saw one, the Young Turks channel. They were talking about there was this woman giving two fingers to Trump at some game or some UFC type thing,
Hmm.
and she was in the background giving two middle fingers. They had to blare it because YouTube apparently now has a policy. If you see a woman giving two
Oh my
middle
god.
fingers, you might explode or something, or
Oh my god.
just start crying at the horror of it.
Hmm.
I mean, is it in case this is in case like a child just puts that video on? There's a woman giving middle fingers, mummy. When you can go on YouTube and you can watch women breastfeeding and they can
Yeah. I
still.
was gonna say they have all. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, those are my favourite channels, but well, I don't know. Honestly, I've never actually looked at those channels, but I know they exist.
Hmm.
But I don't. It just doesn't make any sense, does it?
No.
When there are channels that are basically
And
how to give oral pleasure demonstrated with a banana or something. I mean,
yeah, or even
Mummy, I'm just watching this banana channel.
the banana
Fucking
channel.
hell.
Or even like the weird
Fucking hell.
monetization things. Like I'm not monetized, but if you swear within the first 1 to 5 minutes, you'll be demonetized. But anything after that is okay. It's
That's
so
probably what
arbitrary.
happened with Coffee Time, I think. Just because of the sheer level of bad language and
Yeah.
jackassery going on, really.
Hmm.
It's somebody's demonetized it with a flick of a switch, and they're just like, this channel is beyond help. So, but again, I do think it's because um, you see, if like there was a new Lynch project or something, people would watch it. It's just that the channel really just appeals to a certain fairly narrow group of people, and so people who might like Twin Peaks or whatever, they're not likely to just discover it that easily because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like damn good coffee time. They're like, oh, okay,
Hmm.
that's a channel all about somebody, trying different
Drinking.
coffees on a weekly basis
Yeah.
whilst dressed as Agent Cooper.
Hmm.
And that is exactly what I do, but I do it whilst in the bath, and then
Yeah.
people are just like, this is just jackassery.
It's too
This
much for me.
this is way too much kind of chicanery and tomfoolery.
Hmm.
Well, I gave Mandela Man a hand. I said, come in, and he's not come in. So I can only guess that it's a problem with his connection there or something. So,
Hmm. Probably. Yeah.
or he's very angry with me now.
Too bad. You said something across the line.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really think of much else to say now about the show we're focusing on. So,
Yeah, but I just gotta wait to the next episodes, and we can dive further in. Huh?
mm, definitely. I mean, I was just going to stay on until Mandela Man got on, and then he could just sort of,
Take a
say
swing.
whatever he wanted to at the end of the show, but you know, I've just messaged him saying, "Are you all right?" or whatever, and he
Could be what you said, the connection issue, maybe.
says my ears are ringing. So I don't know if that even. I mean, then maybe his ears are genuinely ringing. So.
So that's what he said. His ears are ringing. Oh.
Well, you know, I'm actually under the next month. Really, I'm really trying to. One sec issue. Eve and I are working on it together. Okay, fine. For some reason, Mandela Man was suggesting that I am a critic of Eve's, or that kind of thing, and I'm not. I actually did a video where we invited her to be in my short film. I'm, making the Amityville Derby film, where it's basically someone, i.e., me, who lives in this country, and then he thinks that he's living in Amityville, and he's taken down a kind of, devilish hole, really, a sinkhole, like a boggy pit, I would describe it as, because of Mandela Man mainly driving him mad. And so that's basically the film. I mean, really, what more can you put in a short film? It's about the dangers of the net as well. The net.
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
i.e., don't believe all you can read on the internet, and also don't get scammed by someone from Burundi who wants to, send you some Kruger gold. I mean, that happened to me.
Kruger gold, really?
I actually got sent the Kruger gold. I'm now actually a billionaire, but
Really?
I'm under house arrest as well because I've actually got 5,000 African migrants living in my flat.
God.
Which was deemed unacceptable. Who I was using for like sex trafficking. So,
oh my God.
I started up my own website called Hot Black African Ass.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that is sick. Wait,
what you said?
Living near me, and
you said it.
No, but I wasn't in control of what I was saying. That's because it's part of this sort of like possession storyline. Really, if I had the ability, I would want it to be like Amityville 2: The Possession, where he gets possessed basically through his Sony Walkman, and that's it. That's the film basically doesn't suggest anything other than that. He's just got it on, and it's like, kill those pigs,
That would be hilarious.
Whilst he's listening to hey, night in the city, coming, pop in the ass, or whatever the typical 80s rock music.
Yeah.
Well, early 80s at the best, and I don't even have a Walkman, so I'll have to film that with just using what I've got. And we asked AI Eve to, say, do you want to be in the film and all that? And she's like, I would love to.
Oh, nice.
And I said, will you be in it, Eve? You're basically playing an alien in it because there's supposed to be alien type activity. And she said, yes. And so she appears in the corner of the room at 3 a.m. or something saying, hi, James, I am here for you. And if you watch the video, she's actually floating up near his curtains, just where the curtains are parted, like this, and like a glowing body.
Oh my God.
It's like better than any special effects in Cocoon or something like that. Like in Cocoon where he kind of peels down his eye and then all the light comes shining out. I want to do something like this, and this is how I spend my evenings, thinking, yeah, I wonder how I could film something like that. I mean, basically, I get a bit of curtain and then shine a light from behind it, and then, yeah, basically I can't do it. I don't have that capability. I can't do that. I'm going to ring up LucasArts. So I actually got Mandela Man to ring up LucasArts for me.
Oh, wow.
And they said, yes, we can do the special effect for you, James. It'll be $50,000. So
per minute, probably.
I'm like, okay, fine, that's fine. Just like Trump, I will never pay it though.
Just saying that.
Just put it in the film. It's brilliant. And then it would go to court probably, but yeah. But I think the main thing is you don't need loads of special effects in a film, really.
No.
I think they're overused nowadays.
Way
Another
too
thing,
much, you know.
another thing that's overused is drone shots as well nowadays.
Yes, I
I
agree
don't know
with
if you've
that.
seen the start of the Evil Dead Rise.
No.
It all seems like drone shots, which is not bad in a way for that kind of thing. Because if you think back to the Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, there's a lot of
Yeah.
these kind of free roaming shots, with the camera flying around everywhere.
On the
But
ground, but like, it's really low,
yeah, but they were using some kind of probably a steady cam in the second one, I think.
Yeah.
But the shakiness of it was part of the quality. Like whereas in this, it's just too smooth, and it's too.
Mm.
It's not bad. I mean, the start of the Evil Dead Rise is actually quite good. The rest of the film is where it becomes a bit
Like,
tedious
really? Wow. Okay. Hmm.
for me, anyway. But then also, I saw Thanksgiving at the cinema last week.
How was that?
It was okay. I honestly just wanted to go and see something that was just a daft film, stupid, but
Yeah. Yeah.
not nothing too sort of serious. But yeah, I would like to go and see Saltburn really, rather than that.
Hmm.
Um, I know Charlotte, aka Ashton, she was recommending Argyle, but
That looked interesting. It
I'm
looks
not
like
sure why. She was saying there's some secret in it, and I was thinking, well, the advert gives that away, doesn't it? Obviously, it's like, it's a fiction, so
yeah.
there's characters in it, and like the way they explain Dua Lipa going, "Hello, I'm Dua Lipa in this film."
Hmm.
Like, oh, glad you catch me or caught me. I mean, I'm Dua Lipa. Like,
Just says
like Dua, get on the set now. Have you ever acted before?
no,
No.
just to say your
Brilliant.
name.
You're perfect for the film now. But in a way, if she's a fictional character and stuff, then it does, it could be okay. It's just, I think the film itself will be
Tongue in cheek the whole
not
way
exactly
through.
a masterpiece, but it should be
Yeah.
okay. And I don't have anything against Dua Lipa. It's just, especially the first scene of her where he was grabbing her off a bike and stuff. It was a bit
Mhm.
like cringe-inducing.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
the first line she said to him or something, it was like, "All right there, love." I don't know what it is. I can't remember it. And, yeah, and they've got like Henry Cavill with like completely, almost like he's had a head transplant with this weird haircut. But
Hmm.
it's strange.
Yeah.
I don't think. I'm just asking.
Oh, here you're typing away. That's quick.
Well, I'm not an expert at all.
It's a hacker right there. It sounds like 80s hacking in my ear.
Yeah, I mean, Mandela Man's into this whole thing of like, he wrote, "Someone may be impersonating me, messaging you."
Oh, come on. Really? That throws everything into a loop now. Who do I trust? You got to come on and tell us. Is it you?
The thing is, it doesn't make any sense. It's like he's putting all these things out there, which are just going to make it even more difficult for him to communicate with people online. Like
Yeah.
suggesting that there's like a million different people identifying. I mean, being, one person or another. Like he was showing me, all the people with my name, for instance, coming up for him, and I mean,
What?
it's like it's just he's just in that kind of state where he thinks that everything has some kind of
Connection?
yeah, like just his connections and like everything's sort of built around his own imagination. Like I can definitely empathise with it all, but it's um, I don't know. It's not going to make things easy for him online because everyone's going to just think that he's talking nonsense, basically.
Yeah, it depends who he's talking to. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I don't think there's many people on Facebook who are going to go along with it. You can't just sort of like go online and then just say, well, this might not be me. Someone else is impersonating me.
That throws a whole. It's like, have I been talking to Mandela Man this whole time? If I find out it wasn't him, oh my god.
Um,
I thought it was a curveball.
hmm.
Because he's blocked from StreamYard.
No, he's not. He's not banned or anything. He's just because I put him on excess timeout last time.
So, hmm.
I just said please recheck to him or something. So.
Yeah. But I'm definitely looking forward to how the series goes, especially if there's only 4 more episodes. Because that really gets me thinking now, because now from now into the next episode, episode 4, I'm going to be thinking about it. And then from then on, you're going to be thinking, like, is it going to end this season? Is this maybe a season 2, that type of show?
Probably. I mean, this. Do you know who this guy is?
No.
That's actually Mandela Man's long lost fourth brother.
Oh,
He's
cool.
actually got 5 brothers, but this. He wrote a book. It's called Sean Hudson. He wrote this book, Heathen.
Hmm. that's nice.
Yeah, he wrote these, pretty famous kind of horror novels and things in this country, at least.
Hmm.
Right. I don't know what's happening with Mandela Man. This is just going on too long now. Yeah, we better leave it for now. It's just going on too late now. So
Okay, yeah, it's up to you.
yeah, let's leave it for now. All right. Thanks again, anyway, for coming on, Johnny. And
Yeah,
we'll
very
talk
good
soon,
chat
okay?
today, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and please share this with many, many other people that you may know, and then we can talk about it with them as well.
Yes.
Are you saying actually weight testing? Um, yeah, I mean, if all the money is spent on going to Disneyland and stuff like that, if you just bought like a good laptop,
Yeah, yeah.
that's the problem. And I've told him a million times this already, and he said, "F you, James," basically.
Oh my God.
F you in the ass, and it's like you just think, well, I was just trying to help.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we are talking amongst ourselves. That's what he's written now. I mean, come on. You're not blocked. I don't know what's going on. You should be able to get in now. I'll just give it another minute and then we'll go if that's it. So.
Yeah, yeah. All good. Just trying. Is there any new movies? I haven't seen any new, other than the one we were talking about, Argyle. And
There's plenty of new ones, but I don't know. Don't keep tabs on all of them, I would say.
yeah, I'm trying to think of some big ones that might be coming out. Like the Marvels apparently flopped at the theater.
Yeah,
That was a
well, that
big
was
one.
pretty predictable, I think. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's. I mean, I do think it's somewhat of an indication in terms of Marvel films as a whole. But if they came out with the next Spider-Man one, I'm sure that would do well. So it's not like those films have just suddenly become massively unpopular. It's just
Well, you see, James, Spider-Man is owned by Sony. Um, so that's their production. So they can only use them if they give them permission to even just like be in a cameo.
Napoleon is a new film out, but that's. I mean, that's a
Yes.
Netflix film.
Oh, Ridley Scott,
Or
right?
I'm not sure if it's Netflix or not, but it's. I almost thought it was going to be a home viewing type of thing, but it would probably be decent, mainly because it's got Joaquin Phoenix. They've got the new Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and some people would say that's just
Hmm.
similar to Marvel, just stretching something on for way too long. Like
Yeah, yeah.
when was the last?
Hunger Games. Yeah.
But the thing is, if it does okay, then that's all
Hmm.
that matters. I mean, even if the Marvels doesn't do that well, it'll probably do okay. It's. But I think they want things. Obviously, they're going to be big successes.
Yeah, they
Five
want
Nights at
everything to
Freddy's
be.
is still on at the cinema here.
Hmm.
I've heard differing things on that. It's supposed to be okay. I would
Yeah,
like to see Killers of the Flower Moon, but then again, I think I'm going to wait for that on the just TV now.
yeah, same here. Yeah.
May to December with Julianne Moore and Natalie Portman being lesbians,
Hmm.
which sounds an enjoyable film. Saltburn, which does look good, actually. I'm interested in that one.
Yeah, see, this one I haven't
Uh,
heard of. I haven't heard of that one yet.
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Hmm.
You haven't heard of Saltburn?
No.
It's basically a film about a young student who gets drawn into this family of sort of aristocratic types and goes to their sprawling estate. I'm sort of reading off what it says on the cinema page now, but yeah, yeah, I think we've waited enough now, long enough for Mandela Man. I think he's gone
Technical.
gone off the boil a bit,
Mm.
so which is unfortunate.
Mm.
Hopefully, he'll come back down to earth at some point with a thud. Yeah, it's a bit too late for me to be really going into another mad like
Yeah.
hour-long discussion of Disney or something. So let's meet again soon, and thank
For
you
sure.
again, Johnny. Thanks
No
again.
problem, James. Ciao, everyone.